Today I wanted to talk to you about inking the card edge, and we talk about that a lot in card making, inking an edge and what that's about. So here I've laid out my card, and there's a lot of pastel things happening on the paper, and I'm feeling like I need to break up that by doing a lot of matting. So instead of matting and adding a lot more weight to my card, I can ink edges. So I'm going to clear this off because I haven't glued it on yet. I'm going to take an ink pad, and first I'm going to start with inking the edge of the card. So I start with taking the card in my left hand, if you're right-handed, and holding the ink pad surface in the other hand, and I'm just going to run it along the edge of the card, the surface of the ink pad. And I'm going to do that on all 4 edges. Okay, now that just sort of defines the edges of the card, but if I want a heavier inked edge, I'm going to use the surface of my ink pad more, and I'm going to just give a little bit more ink using more surface. That kind of gives more of a distressed or a vintage look to the card as well. There we go. Okay, so that's using more of the surface instead of the edge. So now on this next piece, I've already matted this piece of yellow gold music paper, and maybe I want to get rid of that matte because I just don't like that extra piece or that extra weight. So I can ink the edge of this card, this paper, and it will take the place of that extra piece of black paper. Maybe you don't have any black paper, or you just don't like the extra weight or don't want to take that time. If you ink that edge, there you go. You can put that down as well. So it's now taking the place of that matted edge, and my border piece, I'm going to do the same thing too. And that's going to help define that piece on the card. It doesn't take long, it doesn't have to be perfect. Okay, I'm going to put that on there. Now when I reassemble my card quickly here, you can see the difference that inking makes on your card. There we go. All right, so we can pull out a little bit and see that that inked edge does make a difference on your card. Now there are different tools you can also use if you don't want to use the surface of the ink pad. You could use a cotton swab, you can use a cosmetic sponge, or you can use a tool that is a applicator with a foam piece on top. I find these tools are best to use when I'm doing really detailed work, like around a curved edge of a card or around the edge of a flower. That way, using the cotton swab or the applicator gets into those areas that the surface of the ink pad won't.